Hello, good evening, and welcome back. Here we have the antithesis of virtue signalling from Boris Johnson saying he would not veil his language as Prime Minister. Before we get started, it would really help the channel out a lot if you were to subscribe, comment to get some engagement there. Do share this around if you think it worthwhile, and of course like to show the YouTube algorithm that this is a video worth watching. So, the Tory leadership front-runner says voters feel alienated by politicians who are muffling and veiling their language, which runs counterpoint to, I think it was the Britisher who mentioned that people like politicians who seem better than ordinary people in a way, that they might have their own private lives, but when it comes to their public eye, they are much more professional, and they want somebody like that, and they aren't so personable. Of course, Jacob Rees-Mogg is now an archetype of that, or almost caricature, if you will. I know he's written a book recently of the Victorian era, and he seems to be from a century before, so it's very forward-thinking on his part, but nonetheless. So, a defiant Boris Johnson has insisted he will not be muffled and will continue to speak directly, as he was challenged about past controversial comments at his Tory leadership campaign launch, referring to Muslim women wearing the burqa as letterboxes and bank robbers, which, I mean, yeah. I'm all for comedy, I'm all for free speech. You're not inciting violence, don't worry about it, it's cool. Does that mean that you're not fit for political office? Well, I think that people are seeing what Donald Trump did with him weaponizing memes, and MPLM did a good job on this, and have decided, well, hey, if he can do it, why can't I do it? And considering Boris Johnson's hair has been talked about for years, back when he was Mayor of London before Donald Trump ran for president. Although I know Donald Trump ran for president for 2000, but nonetheless, before he was successful, people commented on Johnson's hair. So there's definitely some sort of similarity there. But Johnson does say, if sometimes in the course of trying to get across what I genuinely think, I use phrases and language that have caused offence, of course I'm sorry for the offence that I've caused. Mr. Johnson told Sky's political editor Beth Rigby in a Q&A following his speech, which I think is slightly different from Carl Benjamin, because he's saying in his statement that if I use phrase and language that have caused offence, of course I'm sorry for the offence that I've caused, whereas Carl Benjamin would say, well, I don't think it's a legitimate cause of offence, and therefore if somebody says on an individual basis, then I will apologise to them individually. Whereas Boris Johnson's basically saying, anybody who's been offended, I apologise to you. And of course he's not apologising to people who have not been offended, but he's covering that all in one message, which I think is more clean cut than what Carl Benjamin did. I'm not saying either is better or worse, but we will see how this unfolds to see which is better from a pragmatic standpoint. But I will continue to speak as directly as I can, because that is what I think the British public want to hear. Yes, definitely. It seems very much in the Western world as well, when people are too worried about the cotton wool upbringing, helicopter parents or bulldozer parents, that people think, well, hang on, can we just cut through this crap and get to the point? That would be fantastic. So good on him, and that's why I say it's the antithesis of virtue signalling, because a lot of people are saying, well, hey, I like the lesbians and the gays and the bisexuals and the trans and the queers and the asexuals and the intersexuals and the pansexuals and the two species or whatever it is. I like them more. I think of that. Why don't we put S on the end to add straight to make it even more inclusive? But yes, that's my point. That with virtue signaling, they're trying to say, oh, we're that good because I'm against rape. So, yes. Who isn't? I'm against paedophilia, yes. Who isn't? So, oh, but bravo, well done. That sets you apart from the rest, doesn't it? The fact that you need to say it may be a bit disconcerting, because maybe you think you actually are for it, and you have to say explicitly that you're against it, in a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy that you're trying to wean yourself off from that little bit of raping you do at the weekends. But pillaging and plundering kind of thing. But anyway, in the question and answer session, the leadership frontrunner sidestepped a question about whether he had taken cocaine at university, saying, I think what most people in this country want us to really focus on in this campaign, if I may say so, is what we can do for them and what our plans are for this great country of ours. I do like the fact he's saying it's a great country of ours. That is very important. I would love a leader to be patriotic. It's, and we'll get to this later if I get down to it, but saying that, I think Javid was saying that you need a prime minister, who is good for the country and not just for Brexit. But that harkens back to kind of the Churchill era, whereby there were disagreements about whether or not he was a good leader for the country at the time, but he was bloody good for the war, and that's kind of what matters. If we're taken to task by Europe again, then I think we need a strong character like that, and that's all that matters. And the fun thing about that is that if the difficulties of international relations are done by the Prime Minister and people are left to get on with their own lives, they do a bloody good job. And, oh god, if you look at the lives of the people during the Second World War, obviously awful, and evacuated, obviously awful, but the way they pull together and they rebuild anything that's destroyed, they go along their day-to-day jobs in the rubble. I mean, that sense of community, everybody wants to get to, crikey, and that's without the government intervention in what to do with your daily lives. It's just, we gotta defeat the enemy. So that kind of thing, I mean, bloody hell, if that's not to be aimed towards, of people forming communities within themselves, then I don't know what you're going for, because I don't think it gets better than that. Suggested MPs would not block Brexit because in the end maturity and a sense of duty will prevail. Well, I don't think so, unfortunately, especially considering the Trump blimp in the Victoria Derbyshire show, but we know about her, don't we? Clarified that he would stick up for all businesses, having previously declared fuck businesses because of firms' Brexit concerns. Basically don't compromise our negotiation position for your own personal needs. If you think that's going to do you better, we are the government at the end of the day, I suppose. Which could be seen as a bit totalitarian, now that I've said it out loud. Fair enough. However, I think they can still rebound from that, and then that would be against libertarianism completely to say, well, government does play a role, so it's against anarchy then. Fair enough. Although, that could then be seen as businesses being in short-term gain, not long-term gain, because they may not be leader of that business for the long run, because centuries-old businesses do still fail. In which case, this could be foresight instead of immediate gratification. The difference between sight and vision. Sight is for the here and the now, and vision is for the future. Okay. Which is also why it's good to get rid of the death tax, because most of the people want to generate a lot of money in order to help their children or their future children, maybe even their grandchildren, and not so much for themselves. People prefer to give than to take normally. So, moving on. Defended the use of stop and search and said his record as Mayor of London made him suitable to lead the country. If you're going down the route of a police state, then yes, considering how stabby London has gotten from Sadiq Khan. Acknowledged there will be difficulties and bumps in the road if he becomes Prime Minister, but his team will hit the ground running. Good. Good. I would hate to have a Prime Minister candidate saying, things are going to be easy, we're going to be fine. So, oh God. If you don't think it's going to be bad, then you're going to be screwed, because you're not prepared for difficulty and you will fail. But if you're going to take extreme ownership, as Jocko Willink would say, then good on you. Said, I cannot swear that I've always observed a top speed limit of 70 miles an hour when asked if I've ever done anything illegal. Well, that's like, if you're in a job interview and somebody says, oh, like, what's your worst thing? It's like, oh, I just work too hard. I don't go home early. Oh, no. But, yeah, I mean, who hasn't? He has the support of 80 MPs, while having his nearest challenger, Jeremy Hunt, on 33. Good. If we scroll down, then we get... He's saying, after 3 years and 2 missed deadlines, we must leave the year on October 31st. Good stuff. It's a Halloween gift. We have some contenders. The longer it goes on, the worse the risk. There'll be serious contamination, loss of confidence, because the people of this country deserve the best from their leader. But with no deal, he says, I don't think we will end up with any such thing. And I liken this to being in a relationship. I think the British did a similar thing. I'm not sure though. And saying that England is the female married to the man of Europe, and they're being battered around. And it's like, well, hey, you're giving more money than you're getting. You're conceding a lot more than you're gaining. So no deal is better than a bad deal. It's like, well, when we split up, I would rather have nothing to do with you than have to have the same agreement that we've had so far. If I can actually get something from you as some sort of sympathy and acknowledgement that you've done something wrong, then I will take it. But otherwise, I would rather just say fuck off and never see you again. and and go to America because hey, we're offering a good trade deal. And oh my God, thank you, Trump. I hope you get elected again, Trump 2020, and that you don't get dismayed by the people in England not being nice to you, considering you've had bad press. I suppose you understand. And if we scroll down, we have Javid saying a leader is not just for Christmas or just for Brexit. And as I say, that's like Churchill for the war then, fair enough, but you do need someone like that right now, and that's about it. There was a lovely quote which I must have missed from Boris Johnson, saying that he doesn't want a Jeremy Corbyn government, saying delay means defeat, delay means Corbyn, kick the can and we kick the bucket. I love that. Obviously he's more well spoken due to his education, and that is, you know, what the Tories are known for. But nonetheless, I thought this was very entertaining, and don't back down, you absolute mad lad. Keep running with it. I'm going to cover Dominic Raab next, because he's similar, and I think more intense, considering Johnson did come out as a feminist recently, which is then joining in with that communist ideology. But anyway, that's it for me for now. Next video will be on Dominic Raab in a few minutes, so stick around, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.